Hi, Laura. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Great. I'm so excited to speak with you today. I got to see the first two episodes of the series and I thought it was so much fun. How did you initially get involved with the show and what were your kind of first impressions of it?
Well, I was requested to read for it, and I got the sides for this character and the definition of this character. And I think I was like, okay, this is like Amber and Glinda, kind of all wrapped into this sort of crazy Dimsdale. Do you know what I mean? This
Yeah.
sort of bright energy, but slightly narcissistic, full of themselves person. I knew her. I knew her. I had done her. I saw these sides and I was like, oh, I can have fun with this. And I did. I ended up reading and having fun. And then they just kept calling my agent to say, hey, we have to cast the kids, but we love her and blah, blah, blah. And then about a month and a half later, I ended up having a test for it, a network test, and doing a chemistry read with RJ Hatanaka, who plays my husband on the show. And it's so weird. We had this chemistry reading on Zoom, and you would think that you wouldn't be able to tell whether people have chemistry on Zoom, but for some reason we were totally connected in these scenes and doing these silly things together via Zoom. And then the rest is history. And I left 3 days later to go live in LA for 4 months.
Oh my gosh. Well, you mentioned before this character is kind of familiar to you. I remember just like the first moment you were on screen, you were like dancing in a fun dress. And I was like, this is the Laura Bell Bundy that we know and love. You mentioned that it is kind of similar to your Broadway characters. Were you channeling them in any way while you were filming the series?
I'll be honest, I'm mostly channeling Patsy from Absolutely Fabulous.
Mhm.
That she had kind of been a bit of an inspiration for the creator. And the second he told me that after I had gotten the job, I was like, oh yeah, I dug it. You know what I think it is? Like it's those characters that have this this sort of crazy kinetic energy, and they're full of themselves and they love the outer appearance of things. And that's kind of what Rachel is in her zaniness and in her narcissism. She sort of is kind of into her own thing and doing her own thing and mowing over everybody else. But it's fun. It's really, really fun. And she's a ballroom dancer, a semi-professional ballroom dancer, and who has stage fright.
Of course.
We developed that as the series went on. We have stage fright, and it's been really, really fun to play into that. And she also, when she gets uncomfortable, she doesn't know what to say to someone who is intimidating. She's barks. But I've gotten to have so much fun. Sort of,
Yeah,
she's
I mean,
very musical.
yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like you were having so much fun. And, we love you on stage, but you're also so great on screen. What do you enjoy about like the television medium, especially in sort of like a shorter 30-minute episode series like this?
I think that multicam is the most similar to theater, in that we actually have a rehearsal process where when we're doing single camera comedy or drama or single camera drama, the rehearsal is right there, right before, and you get the wide shot, then you go get your two shot and you turn around and get the other two shot, and then you go in for close-ups. And so you have some time to work on it, but you don't really have that time to let it marinate overnight, knowing what the blocking is, knowing the delivery of the other actors. You just don't get that same opportunity as you do in theater. And theater is my favorite medium. It always, hey, it's my dog. Theater is my favorite medium. And I think some of that is because I love the rehearsal process. I love going into a room with the other actors and the director and choreographer and figuring out what we're going to do, and then sleeping on it and coming back the next day and going, I think I have an idea for how to solve this problem. That's where I think I find my value is too, as an actor in a production. So I love that. And I get to do that with multicam. It's not for 6 weeks, but it's for 2 days, 2 or 3 days. But I love that. And with Fairly Oddparents, since it is a sitcom, we get to do that. You know, we have our table read on Thursdays. We learn our dance if we're dancing, we learn that right away. If we're singing, we record the music right away. Then we block the rest of it. By the end of that day, we're doing a run through for producers, and which means we got to remember the dance we learned in the morning. And then the next day we go block it again, knowing we go over the dance, we go over the stuff, we figure out any problems again before we have our network run through. I just love that process. And the thing that's exciting about it, we film Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I find even more on the weekend as it's marinating in. And then what's different is that I got a new show I got to do next week, as opposed to the same show. I'm doing 8 shows a week for over a year. I have a new episode to do. It's different in ways that I think many Broadway performers would understand, is that I'm not having to use the same muscles over and over and over again. I get to shift my muscles, different dance moves, different songs. And you didn't get to see yet where we start singing. We start singing on this show.
I can only imagine how great that's going to be.
Start singing. Sam Martin, who's the executive producer, she's a brilliant songwriter, and she writes these hilarious ditties. We're not singing through an entire episode, but we're like singing here and singing there. And so once she realized she had cast a bunch of people who could sing, we were singing all the time. But it has been, I would say, in terms of television, the most similar to doing a musical than I've ever had. And I think that's why I love it so much. And even the tone of it is like way, way bigger than most television. I don't have to tone it down really ever. They're pretty great with letting me just go with that.
Yeah, well, my final question is, since, this nostalgia factor is so big these days, it was so exciting to see a reboot of something that I was familiar with when I was younger, or a lot of people grew up with. Is there a TV show that you had grown up with, or a cartoon that you had grown up with, that you would love to create sort of another reboot series around?
Let me tell you, I am a gay man trapped in the body of John Waters. I watched John Waters when I was 8. Okay, I literally watched Hairspray with Ricky Lake, eating my TV dinner. And the reboot for me was the musical, right? Mm. So, I mean, I guess you could say I watched Fraggle Rock, or, and that would be very nostalgic to me. Or I watched, I loved The Nanny. I loved and Full House became Fuller House. Full House was like that show for me, or Family Matters. Fresh Prince, but it's rebooted. I mean, I'm like a kid, and then I was born. I'm not going to tell you where I'm born. What am I even saying this? Let me put it this way: when I was like a kid, it was like late 80s, early 90s. They're rebooting all of that now. I don't have any. I don't have a wish list anymore. I like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Well, you mentioned The Nanny, maybe the musical version of The Nanny. I mean, I'd so be here to see you in that.
I love The Nanny. Mr. Champion. Oh my God.
Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on your work in the new series. I loved it, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you, Michael.
Dad, no, I have trouble meeting new people.
It's just my new wife, Rachel, and her son, Roy, who you've never met before.
New sister, let's go!
I want you to meet the 2 best things that's ever happened to me.
Ta-da! What are those?
We're your fairy godparents!
What? Let's go? We can wish for whatever we want?
Guava juice, birthday cake, large fries, chocolate shake.
I wish my bedroom were better. I wish that my dad would stop ballroom dancing all the time. I wish that everything I to gold.
That's not gonna go well at all.
Oh my God! Move me.
Moving.
Booyah!
I have fairy godparents now. I want the life I thought I was getting. I wish I were taller.
Got it.
Oh, not what I was hoping for.
One quick montage coming up.
Cosmo, Wanda, get back here!
Jurgen Von Strangle makes us tour all of his bathrooms every time. Sorry, kids, gotta poop. The new series, The Fairly Oddparents, Fairly Odder. Stream with your family March 31st.
I wish I had solid gold beds. These are amazeballs.